That's what I forgot. It's been a while since we've done this sound check. Can you hear me? And where are the comments? Let's see. Some of you just put anything in the comments. Does comments work? Did I do this right? Comments do work. Can you hear me? Hello, Mike's been a long time. Back to the Future 1999. What is up? What is up? What's up, Rose Kel? We can hear you. Awesome. That is good. Yeah, it's been a couple of years. I mean, is this too loud? I turned it up, my headphones. It's been quite some time. There's a lot of things going on. I know that people were asking me about the whole thing last night with Adam Marion over there at USC. I haven't been live in, I think it's probably been over 2 years. Definitely over 2 years. It's been a while. You're back. Yes, I am back. It's pretty crazy because the community that I'm in, the Discord, there's quite a few of us, maybe 10, 12 of us. And they've been banging on the drum for AMC, and I've kept telling them that if AMC gets down to a dollar, roughly a dollar, maybe under a dollar, I'll buy back in. And lo and behold, guess what? It did come back in under a buck. Fast 80. What's up, man? What's up, homie? Temecula back in the building. You know where I'm at. You know where I'm at right now. And Temecula is back in the building. I'm not at AMC movie theaters out here in Temecula. I'm actually here at Pachanga. I have a meeting pretty soon, so I'm gonna be live. I think I have like an hour to spare. If it lasts that long, if not, it's all good. I know people are asking like questions. I know that people. I mean, the type of DMs that I get is this is more so for the DMs. People, they want to talk about stuff, but I can't respond to all the DMs. There's so many, and then the questions they send, even on Twitter or X, even YouTube. There's a lot of people sending stuff or asking questions. I know that my comments were flooded today because I know the whole thing with Ryan Cohen's brother was talking about GME. And he was just going off with his brother. There's a bunch of space calls going on. Man, it's just a wild time. Now, it's nothing like 2021. 2021 was fantastic. It was just one of those things where the community was strong. People were just tight knit, and you had Trey. Trey was in the building. Um, you know, that's a whole other story. People don't like Matt Kors, but there was a lot of YouTubers out there doing their thing, and it was easy at the time because the stocks, everything was going up. Yeah, all the meme stocks going up, and you could talk about any ticker show you wanted, and it would just go up, right? And so people were making money, and everybody was good. But at some point, all that becomes, it comes to an end. And when it comes to an end, you actually have to know how to trade. You actually have to know what the hell you're doing because if you don't, you're going to get smashed and you lose all your money. And it's hard to talk about a ticker symbol when it keeps going down and down and down. You got these YouTubers, or they say it's gonna be MOAS every single week, and you have everybody saying they're gonna be so rich and to squeeze and buy these options and these weeklies and just on and on. And it's like, what does it do? It gets them monetization, gets them views, but it gets the retail investor absolutely nothing. And I've always said I'm here for the retail investor. And the time that I actually got out and sold, people were pissed off. Like, why'd you sell? I thought you believed in the play and all these things. And yeah, I did believe in the play to a certain degree, but until I met Adam Marin, and obviously there was issues, right? There's things that he said. People call me a shield. They call me a liar. But I did tell her, and I was always upfront with everybody. He's like, if I'm gonna sell, and I'm gonna be upfront, I'm gonna come right out and say, hey, I sold. I got out of the play. At that time, it was going against the grain. People were not having it. People were like, "How are you selling? You were so in on AMC. You were so bullish on it." But at some point, the narrative changes. There's a lot of things that happen within the stock market, things that happen within the stock, things that happen within the company. You got dilution and reverse split. You have ape. You have offerings in the movie industry. You had the pandemic. You had all these things that are happening. So nothing stood the same. And for me, you had failed to deliver the FTDs when I met Adam Marion down in San Diego. and he told myself and Harvard the Kid that the FCDs were going to go away. I was like, I thought he was playing. I've asked him the question 3 times. Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, they just disappeared. I was like, no, this can't be. Let's see. You're always honest, and I'm one of those that thought you convert into a shield, but because I was too invested in the play and the community, so I'll be man enough to admit I was wrong. Look at, and that's good of you. I'm not looking for any apologies. Over the years, I've had a lot of people apologize for being talking shit to me pretty much, right? Telling me again I'm a shield and why did you do this, do that. Now, I did go on and bash AMC. That is truthful because of what they're doing. Again, I'm not a supporter by any means of Adam Marin. By any means, I'm not. What he was doing and how things were happening, to me, was just absolutely disgusting. Like, and there was nothing good for the retail investor. Everybody was just getting wiped. Do I speak English? Oh, do I speak Spanish? I do. It's very little. It's more like street slang, just from how I grew up. I'm not fluent, but I can. But going back to Adamera, a lot of things that he was doing, and people were getting wiped, and people still believed in him. They rode his coattails. He did his dog and pony show. He went out there and he's, hey, look at me, and he's kissing babies and meet and greets. To me, I think there's a certain thing crossing the line, and that's what pretty much what got to me. I never forgot the time you met AA, and right there, and you tried to tell us that he was just being a snake, and keep him afloat. Yeah, there's a lot of things about Ed Marin that I saw when I met him. And here's the thing: is that he actually stood and we spoke for about, I want to say, either 20 or 25 minutes. It's been so long; it's been already 2.5 years maybe. So we spoke for about 20, 25 minutes, maybe a half hour. I don't know. It was quite some time, and there was no BSing about it. Like, I wish I was able to record it. He didn't want to record it. That's fine. People were like, "Well, if you didn't record it, it didn't happen." Okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. But there was witnesses there. I don't get political, man. There's witnesses there. There's a lot of people that saw this. And I came out and said what I said. I sold my position the way I did, because of what he told me. Now, if I never met him and he didn't say FTDs would go away, I heard it from someone else, I would probably still hold and went through the conversion. In my Discord, in my group, people were saying, hey, APE is the way to go. That's the way to actually save. But my dollar cost average for AMC was so low that it makes sense for me to convert over to APE or to jump on the other side. So I actually waited. And for the first time before the conversion happened, I was actually red. I was always green from day one, from 2021 all the way through. I was always green because my dollar cost average was so low. But the very first time I turned red, right before the conversion, and then when the court hearing was denied, um, and AMC popped up and APE went down, I turned green and I was profitable by like $2.17, $2.14, whatever it was per share. And that's when I sold in the after hours. And as soon as I sold, I went live and I told everybody, hey, I sold. Now, here's something that people won't tell you, that they won't be directly honest with you. Making money in YouTube, it's not, people are like, well, you did it for monetization, you did it for this and you did it for that. But making money on YouTube, yeah, it was cool and all. And I think I was averaging between like $900 and $1,500 a month. Not bad, right? Just to make some videos and get some super chats and all that stuff. It was cool, right? But it's not life changing money. But people would never told you that they sold. They would never had said, hey, that I got out of the play. What they would do is they would actually just keep the mouth shut, keep making videos so they could still get the monetization. I never been about that. I never needed YouTube money. YouTube money was just, something that it was cool to have. And when it came in, yeah, I bought some shares or bought some hats or some kick or whatever, paid a couple things here and there. It was never really a big deal. But there's YouTubers out there that actually need monetization, that need YouTube money. So they're willing to lie to you. Um, I did have two companies reach out to me to talk about AMC, and they paid me to, like, I think it was like between three to up to $500 per video to talk bad about AMC. Now, before I got into play, shoot, you already know me. I do that for free because I don't like Adam Aaron. But when it got down to the dollar, got down to a buck and below, I'm like, okay, there's some opportunity. Hey, it's scumbag, the West. Uh, yeah, fast. Like, that's one thing. It's like people want to blame other people. Gee, people want to blame other people, right? for making YouTube videos. But I think at the end of the day, people say, well, you're an influencer, right? But I think there's a big but. You have to actually learn. If you actually listen to somebody on YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is, and you get financial advice from them for retirement or for a MOAS or for some type of financial stability long term, you're going about it the wrong way. You need to understand and learn this stuff yourself. One thing that I learned, I was very naive when I got into AMC. Saw a video of Trey. And one thing that I realized too, I was looking at the algorithms for my YouTube channel because I've been on for so long. And recently, I think it's like in the 90s, the most amount of viewers are brand new. This one chick came out, she's like, "Who are you? I never heard of you." And it's like, yeah, I've been gone for like 2 years, right? And she's like, "Well, I still never heard of you." Like, that's totally fine. Like it's if you have, you have. I never heard of you. I mean, who are you? But one thing is, I forgot what I was saying right now, but uh, somebody catch me up. I just went off and I just totally lost what I was saying. Oh, okay. Um, One thing about when I first got into the play, I didn't really understand. I saw a video from Trade, and he's like, "Hey, I like AMC. I bought AMC like the week before, and my $4 entry all went up to like $25, right?" It's like, okay, cool. Like we made a bunch of money, and at the time selling Doge, and that thing was booming, and it was like a great time, right? With the buy button, and the only thing you could do is sell. And so, okay, cool. Like it is what it is. But when I started understanding short selling, ladder attacks, when I started seeing all this stuff and people talking about it, I used to go to trade. I used to go to Matt Course channel, in all honesty, and I would ask, question after question, and then that's where people were getting pissed off. Well, you have to super chat them in order for them to read your question, especially Matt Course. And I was like, well, super chat. So I would send super chats, $2, $5, $10, whatever it is. So I actually get my answers, my questions answered. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, I can't be the only one that doesn't know this. There's tons of people because we're all new retail investors. And so that's why I came to YouTube. I think it reached dollars by October. I don't say by October. I'll say by the end of the year. I'll say by the end of the year. That's my speculation. Yeah, backcourt is all about his. Yeah, 100%, 100%. But once I knew that there was a lot of people that was hungry for not only the truth, somebody very direct because you already know I'm very direct, and somebody that wouldn't sugarcoat stuff. And I was learning on the fly, right? When I hit YouTube, I was actually before I came back on and started YouTube again. I was looking at my first videos and um how I went about things. Obviously I made videos and it picked up really quick because I had a crowd or I had people's attention pretty fast. So the thing about that is that they saw the honesty or the personality or whatever it is that they saw. They're like, hey, like this guy's pretty he's just like us. He's a blue collar guy. He's always working. He's driving out to AMC and he's doing his thing, right? But when I started learning that how the manipulation, what was happening, ladder attacks and short selling, and you can name it, right? When I knew 100% that we were being manipulated, my first thing was not to cry about it or not to complain that we were being manipulated, but to how are we being manipulated? And then once you can find out how the game is played, then you could actually play on that side of the game as well, right? You can start playing because it's not about calls all the time. It's not about everything being green. What about the downside of things? I mean, I'll tell you right now, I had puts on AMC and made a lot of money. I had puts on, I think, on Hood. Um, uh, I forgot it was like at 60s, 50, 60, somewhere around there, went all the way down to like teens or 20, made a killing, crushed it, right? A hood to the downside. At that time, I think I put on AMC around that time too. Talking about stuff like that, people would be pissed off. You can talk anything negative about AMC, and that's fine. Now people say that, hey, you're a you flip flop, you're POS, you're this, you're that because you sold and I've been here and I held and hodled and diamond handed. But yeah, you also got crushed and you got devastated. So you think there's some respect in that? You want me to be red like you and destroyed with no money and all my capital gone. So you have your respect. Like, who are you, right? Like it doesn't really matter to me. One thing I said in my videos is the fact that the stock market or investing, it's actually an individual sport. Some people think it's a team sport, like like we're all collectively put our money together in a big old pot investing. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, my group of Discord, yes, I think we have between 500 and 600,000 shares of AMC combined collectively. That's a half a million shares. That's a whole lot of Starbucks right there, right? And and that it's like even though we're not exchanging money, we're not saying, hey, if you lose some, I'll hook you up, or we're not. It's just, hey, what? It's just what we have, and our share count is it's what it is. Just because you held and diamond handed and did all these things and got destroyed, and then you want to hate on someone like me who me sold or got out or gets back in and out and in and out and is playing the game, that's on you. You can hate me all you want. There's people that threaten me. That's fine. You can do whatever you want. It's social media. It's not real life, right? In the end of the day, it's behind closed doors. Is what are you happy with when it comes to your position? There's tons of people since I came back to YouTube. There was tons of people that actually said they averaged down and they learned, um, how to dollar cost average and to have a goal. And there was one guy that I met him last night. I think his average is like 25, $26. And he got all the way down to $4 and like 17 cents. And that's fantastic, right? Because now he has a real opportunity, a real shot of making his money back. He's down like 90,000, 95,000, but he has a real shot of making his money back and plus making a profit. I'm looking at, uh, I said $5. Now, what's going on with the movie industry, the movie slate, and what's happening? Now we're looking at $10, right? That's just my opinion. That's just my own thesis. That's my own theory. Some people can hate on that. People say, AMC should be much higher, 50, 60, $70. Some people say hundreds, and some people say thousands. People still talk about MOAS. That's fine. You can say whatever you want. This is just me. My position is not your position. I'm literally saying, hey, for me, my average, I actually averaged up because I bought more shares, but my average is up to $1.04 now, right? And that's fine. What would I do when the price gets to $10? I don't know. I gotta look at the market. I gotta see what's happening. I gotta see what Adam Aaron says. I gotta see what the sentiment in the market, the whole stock market, what's happening around the country, overseas. It's not just AMC by itself. And I think that's where people get misconstrued is like they think that AMC is the only ticker symbol. And if AMC goes up or down, it controls the whole market, or AMC is separate from the market. And when you have that type of mentality because you don't want to get outside of your box, or maybe it's a little too uncomfortable, or it's a little bit different. If you cannot understand that outside the market can control what AMC does, no matter what happens. I mean, they could come out and say, "Hey, the market, all the debt for AMC has been completely wiped away." That would be obviously bullish as heck, right? That the stock should shoot through the roof. But then we actually have some type of financial crisis, have bank runs, and AMC wouldn't run. It would just probably drop. There's nothing you can do with that. The market's going to be the market. The market's going to dictate what's going to happen with your ticker symbol. Now, if everything's holding up and oil, my biggest concern is oil. It was a writer strike. That's pretty much resolved. It was an actor strike. That's pretty much resolved. You have the restructuring of debt. That's going to be done later on this month. You also have, what was the other thing? You have the offering. That's almost done. And the movies, like how the movies are going to do in 2026. Now, the movies are fantastic. Everything's working out. Everything's ahead of schedule. This hasn't happened to AMC. Um, since I've been to play since the last 5, 6 years, it hasn't happened at all. So having these bullish things is just fantastic, right? You get Project Hail Mary is making a ton of money. You have Mario Brothers coming out, already approaching $1 billion. I mean, and then you still have Devil Wears Prada. You have Spider Man. You have Michael Jackson. I mean, it's just movie after movie after movie. You're talking over $10 billion in 2026. It's a possibility, maybe 10 to 10 to 5. That type of momentum, that type of news, this Q1's gonna be, a negative. But if you're making $3 billion, possibly in Q2, 3 billion and possibly Q3, and 3 billion and possibly Q4, I mean, we're talking monster numbers here. What happens if everything is a couple movies that exceed? I think Spider-Man personally is gonna make $2 billion or approach it pretty damn close. What happens if that happens, right? What happens if AMC reaches $11 billion in 2026? I mean, the stock price is going to be pushing up. There's a lot of people that got in at a buck or under a buck, and they're averaging down. Like myself, I hope that I'm averaging up and continue to average up. Just what happens with the box office. To me, that's just one of the most bullish things ever. I'm looking for value. Someone said this is that you have in any sector, right? Could be think of whatever, right? Hello, we hear you. Hi, I hear you too. Think of any sector. You think of any type of business, right? Any business. What is the number one company in that business? Doesn't matter. I don't care if it's tennis balls. I don't care if it's electricity. I don't care what it is. Just whatever you can think of, right? Whatever is the number one company in that sector, and it's only $1. Make that make sense. Like to me, having AMC at $1 was just a no-brainer. Like, it didn't really make sense financially. to have AMC, the biggest movie industry, the biggest movie company in the industry, still, it didn't make sense for them just to be a buck, two, three, $4. Yeah, at $5, people are like, well, how come you didn't buy it at $5 if you're buying it at $1? Like, that's a stupid ass question. Really think about it. People were mad because I didn't buy it at $5, but they're upset that I bought it at a dollar. Like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear how stupid of a question that is? The reason why I didn't buy it at $5 because there's more downside possibility. There was a lot of question marks. But as soon as they reached the dollar, and you have the movie industry and the movie slate coming out, and you have all these things that could possibly be bullish for AMC, why wouldn't I buy at under a dollar? Because if I lose all my money, my dollar cost average is under a buck. Losing 100% at under a dollar, I can live with it because all my position is profits from 2021, from June of 2021, from the options I had for $40 calls to make this. Still waiting on MOS to, but um, so it doesn't make sense for me not to even buy. And like sadly for value, and people are like, well, AMC is not valuable because it's going to go down 50 cents. Okay, so again, this reiterates my point. Even if it possibly it did go down to 50 cents, right? And I bought it at a dollar, that's still a 50% loss. I'm down 50%. But I'm looking for upside of 1, 2, 3, 400, 500%, which is still only $5. So if you're going to tell me that I'm losing 50% with the possibility of making 500%, I'm totally okay with that. That's risk versus reward. Now, if there's no more downside when it comes to AMC and it doesn't go underneath the buck again and we have just upside, I'm not talking about squeezing a MOAS. I'm just talking about upside. Just gradual 4%, maybe 20%, a 10% here or there, right? Just move to the upside. That's great. I'm looking long term, all the way through 2026. After 2026, I do not know. I get a question here. Do I think AMC can reach $10 by October? October, I'm gonna have to add October, November, and I gotta throw December in there. Again, for me personally, again, my dollar cost average is just over a dollar now. I'm looking to the end of the year, to the end of 2026. There's many things that can happen, good and bad. But for the most part, right now, everything is humming good and everything is fantastic right now. I don't see any downside when it comes to AMG. None. Zero. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. You have the writer strike. I'm the strike. You have the writer guild. They actually come to agreement. You got the actors guild come to agreement. You have the offering. It's going to be done. You have the restructuring of debt. That's going to be done. You have the movies are doing monstrous with the box office. It's just crazy domestically and globally. Like there's literally no downside here. The only thing that can actually put a dent in all this stuff, or maybe a hiccup, would be oil, and that's what goes on overseas. And I'm not even going to get into that, right? But oil can have a problem because it could suppress the whole market. But even right now, with a delay of 2 weeks of what's going on overseas, that's fine. There's plenty of room for AMC to breathe, plenty of room for all these movies to come out and make tons of money. And the box office is doing great. Let's see. Hume 1963. Hello. I bought 1,000 shares this morning. Well, congratulations. It's good. Now, here's one thing that I'm not going to tell you is that I'm not going to tell you that I believe in the MOS. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to run to these prices. Again, people are upset because I put prices, realistic prices. These are realistic prices, in my opinion, right? Anything can happen, but these are realistic prices. People say, well, I need $300, $400. Well, that's you. That's not me. I'm making all these videos and talking about AMC from my perspective at just over a dollar cost average, right? Just over a buck. I'm not talking about the person who's stuck at 25 or 50 or 70 or need $200, $300. I may not be your cup of tea because what I see is not what you need and you don't like it and people get pissed off. The other people that get pissed off is, well, I lost so much money, you shouldn't be making videos at all. You shouldn't even be talking about AMC. Again, that's a you issue. Take fucking responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility for not educating yourself. Take responsibility for you getting into a play, not having a clue what was going on. And even if you did, you diamonded and hodled and lost everything. That's a you issue. It's not an OTF issue. What is this going on? Thought the vampires were all dead. No, am I a vampire? I've been gone for a while. It's been a minute. It's been I think the last time I did live is probably over 2 years definitely. And I started making videos. I think it's probably going on 11 days now. It's definitely less than 2 weeks. What did AA say at the event? Okay, so that's another thing. So I know a lot of people want to know about the event, and I'm sure people are going to watch it. So what happened at the event? I tweeted out I was actually first in line, and I'm gonna go to the whole story. I know people are going to ask me a couple of times, so I'm gonna have to repeat myself a few times. But at the event, what happened last night is that the event was supposed to start at 7 o'clock. I got there, and it was just after 6. There was myself, and there was another guy that holds AMC, and that's fine. Now, when I signed up for this event, um, there was nothing that said you had to be a student. There was nothing um, that said that there wasn't rules to this, right? For the event, it was just first come first serve. That was pretty much it. So I signed up 4 ways. I signed up with a business email. I signed up with one I use for like fantasy football. I use the one I use for personal use, and then also the one I use for on the float. So the one they accepted was owning the float email. I think no other emails accepted emails from them, for the other emails. The only one they accepted was owning the float. So I got my RSVP and get here early, first come first serve, that type of thing. Okay, cool. So I get there actually an hour 15 before the whole event starts. I show up. There's again, everybody's cool. They're all doing their thing. There's already a class in there, and they're about to come out. But I asked them. And the event coordinators, they were all cool. Everybody was like, again, everybody's really nice in hospital. Everybody's hella cool. And I asked them inside the event, like Fontana and Emma are here. Oh, nice. What's up, man? How you doing? DB is it uh hit me up, man. You already know. Fontana and Emma, what's up, man? Tell everybody say what's up over there. So at the event, I asked them, can you actually record or can you actually have video? Can we do any of that, take pictures or whatever? And they're like, yeah, no problem. I was like, cool. I'm like, the list when to go in, what's going to be the list? What can you do? And they're like, oh, just first come, first serve. They'll probably just look you off and see, check your name or maybe show your RSVP, but it's like first come, first serve. Cool. That was it, right? Now, as time went on, um, Larry Cash, it's been a minute since I've seen you. Larry Cash, 3042. It's been a while since I've seen that name pop up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming me back. So as time went on, it gets to about 7 o'clock, right? But a little bit before that, I hear one of the guys, he says, and these are college students, and they're into like cinema, right? So he says, he asks one other person, he's like, what's a short seller? What's shorting a stock? What's short selling? And the other guy goes, I don't know. And that was it. And so no one said anything. And then they had a little conversation about short selling. Nobody knew what it was because, again, these are cultures. They don't invest in a lot of things, right? So I'm sure some do, but these particular kids didn't know what short selling was. Cool. Then they had a list of questions, and it was questions for Adam Marin. So I asked them, I'm like, hey, how's this going to go? They're like, well, Adam's going to come in. He's going to give a spiel. He's going to talk about what he's going to talk about. There's a list of questions that he has that he's going to run through, and he's go down the line of all the questions. And then after he finishes those questions, there's going to be a little Q&A. So then people in the crowd can actually ask him questions. Cool. Now, while this is going on, all of a sudden, just after they're talking about, what is short selling and stuff like that, they came up to me and they're like, hey, just to let you know that there's not going to be able, you can't record or you're not going to be able to do any audio or videos inside there or pictures. Like all like camera stuff is like, it's not going to be allowed. We're going to be prohibited. Okay, that's fine. Cool. Totally respect that. So once they said that, I'm like, okay, cool. So it's gonna be my word. There's a couple of people there. Like the guy, I think his name is Todd, is right behind me. He holds the AMC. And he's like, okay, cool. Like it is what it is, right? So that goes by. Now 7 o'clock hits, and that's when they're supposed to let us in. 7 o'clock rolls by and nothing. Right? 7:10, 7:15. Now it gets to like 7:20. And everybody's like, what's going on? Like, how come we can't go in? And then this lady comes up and she comes to me, she's like, hey, are you owning the float? I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay. After that, everybody disappeared. And then we're just waiting. And now the time frame would be like 7:15, 7:20, somewhere around there. Okay, cool. And I don't know, maybe they're delayed or something. So what ended up happening is that um we're in line, right, about to go in, waiting for this event to happen. Security comes up. They have campus security and police. They come up and they walk right up to me and they're like, are you Mike? I'm like, yes. They're like, are you owning the float? I'm like, yes. They're like, can we speak to you? Can you step over here? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So they know who I am. They know my first and last name. They know everything about me. They know my social media presence. They know everything, right? They know my business. They know everything. Very respectable. Again, they weren't being rude or being mean or nothing like that. There's a few of them. So we step over to the side, probably like maybe 30 feet away, and he tells me, he's like, "What are you here for?" I'm like, "I'm here to see Adam Aaron." And he's like, "Well," he goes, "we it's come to our attention that you have a problem with Adam Aaron." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I don't like how he's handled things when it comes to AMC, and when it comes to stock of AMC, of how he handled Terra and Ape and many other things." And so they're like, "Okay, like, are you here to do anything?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Are you here to cause problems?" I'm like, "No, absolutely not." He's like, "What is your reason for being here?" I'm like, "I want to see what he has to say. I want to see what the Q&A is about. And then if there's any questions open for the questions for questioning, as one if I could get a question, maybe you too." And he's like, "You met him before?" I'm like, "Yes, I have." I'm like, "Down in San Diego." We actually spoke for about 25 to 30, 20, 25 to 30 minutes that we spoke. We had a one-on-one. There's some people around. So we had a discussion. They made videos about it and so forth. And he's like, "Okay." He goes, "Well, just to let you know that Adam Aaron doesn't want you here. You're not welcome here." I was like, "Okay." Like, and that was it, right? I was like, "That's fine." But he asked me, "What questions did you want to ask him?" And I was like, "Well, the questions I want to ask him is like, with AC being under a dollar or hovering around a buck, would you be willing to buy with your own money? I know you get vested shares and so forth, but would you be willing to put your money into buying AMC?" That's one of the questions I want to ask him. I also want to ask him is that with 2026 with the movie slate and how things are going with the writers and actors. Hang on one second. So with the movie slate going with the writers and the actors, as well as restriction of debt, um, and what was the other with the offering almost complete, and again with the box office booming, or would it be safe to say that we can take off a reverse split for 2026? That's the questions I want to ask him. If not, I was asking him about taking the reverse split off of the table for 2026. And he's like, "Okay." "I hear you." "I can relay that to him." I was like, "Okay, fine." He goes, "But we're going to have this event. It's going to be closed doors now." He goes, "It's going to be, you're not welcome. We're going to have to ask you to leave." I'm like, "That's totally fine. I respect that. I'm not here to make any trouble." Again, everybody was super nice. Everything was super cool. Nothing happened. Um, there was no tempers or anything. They just asked. They knew all about my videos. So I guess they've been watching them or they knew what was coming, obviously. Um, And so they knew they had pictures of me. Obviously they knew that I met him. They knew that we spoke. They knew that my sentiment towards Adam Aaron was very negative. Now, if you look on social media, I don't threaten him or anything like that. I just don't like him. I just think he did a shitty job, even still, do, right? And the best thing for him to do, in all honesty, right now, is where the stock price is and with the momentum that AMC has, is to do nothing. It's to literally just drop his 8K and say the offering's done, or to just say, "Hey, go movies." That's pretty much that's the only thing he should be doing. He shouldn't say anything else, right? Nothing else. But they said that again, no videoing. At first, it would be you can video and you do this, and they said that you're not going to be able to. And then I think at that point, that's where they said they're gonna make it for just students only. Now I don't know if it was students only first, but they definitely made it students only after, because obviously I'm not a student. I don't look like a student. I was there front. They know who I was. They know that I'm only the first in line. I put it out on Twitter too, so a lot of people know I was there. But I think they waited to say, "Hey, maybe they want to." Now there's a couple of things that was brought to my attention. Again, I wasn't mad at all. I didn't take it personal. Um, as soon as I left, I actually went down. Uh, Actually, it's not even intimidating. It was nothing had nothing to do with intimidation. There was a couple people in our Discord that made a very good point. Made actually a really valid point. Again, I didn't take it all personal. I know I met him before. I know we had discussions, and I know this was going to be something where I could ask him a ton of questions. If there's one question I wanted to ask him, it was going to be, "Hey, can we take? Is it safe to say we could take a reverse split off of the table for 2026?" Now, if he said yes, that'd be fantastic. I mean, it'd be great, right? Couldn't record it, and then gonna be live. So people will be like, "Oh, he didn't say that." There's gonna be other naysayers, right? It is what it is. But here's the thing: is even let's say even today he comes out and he says we're gonna have a reverse split on AMC. Um, and he announces it today or tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow's Friday. That still won't happen because there got to be approvals. There have to be all the things that set up to be done, and that won't happen till 2027. So again, technically, if you really think about it, in all reality, there's not going to be a reverse split in 2026. He may announce one. I don't think he is. It'd be ridiculous if he does. He may announce one, but it won't happen until 2027. I think that's what people just don't understand. They think if he says anything about a reverse split, it's going to happen like in 2 weeks, right? Nothing. But here's the other thing that a lot of people that know way more than me, this is what they said, and this is what they shared with me, and this is where I fully agree with what they had to say. Um, what they said is that with Adam Aaron, with the offering not being complete, there's no AK dropped, right? He's still holding shares, right? True. You still have the restriction of debt. They don't want to take a chance of having to be talking to a retail investor about things that are not done yet. Now, was it asked his questions? No, but he does not know. Again, I'm not defending him in any case, but they don't know what questions I'm going to ask. Maybe that's why they asked me. And there's actually almost a point where I thought they would be like, okay, if you stick to those questions, you can go in. But they're like, it's probably better that you just don't come in at all. And I can respect that, right? Fully respect that. The last thing I want to do, and truth be told, the last thing that I want to do on the float, me, Mike, that wants to do is ruin momentum when it comes to the play. What if, again, this is just me thinking aloud, what if I go to this thing and we talk about, ask him a question and he gets misconstrued, and all of a sudden it's like he was talking about a deal that's not even done or restructuring of debt that's not even done, and that ruins everything, ruins the play, and they have to come on and say, hey, we're not going to restructure the debt, or there was a hiccup in restructuring the debt, or whatever the case is. There's some type of problem, or even the offering. There's some type of problem with the offering, or just whatever issue there is. And so I agree with that because in my video too, I said that our Discord holds over 500,000 shares. Collectively, we hold over 500,000 shares. So that can be a major issue, right? A major issue. So for them to excuse me for a split second, I did take it personal for a split second. But then again, I understood. And then I started to think about it. I was okay. So when I walked out, I actually made a video walking out about what happened about them, said that them kicking me out, right? And I was going to post it right away. But before I did that, I'm like, let me get my other people that we share tons of information about and talk about AMC and go over everything. Let me get their piece of advice. And they said and we all came to agreement that they did to collectively um, shield themselves from any type of foul play or for anything that can get out or be said or be taken the wrong way. I agree with that. So having a shareholder, someone like me who's in a group of 500,000 shares, it's the best thing to do. Not only for AMC, but also for the community. Because the last thing I want to do is mess up momentum. Mess up momentum. You're a better man than me. I would have felt like shit. Okay. There's a bunch of students there, and here's the thing: is this place held like 106, 107 people, just under 110, I believe. Excuse me, just under 110 people. Um, and also that holding just under 110 people, it wasn't going to be full at all. I think in line there was probably close to maybe 60 people, um, maybe 50, 60 people. So the auditorium would have probably been half full, if anything, three-quarters full. But it was definitely like a packed house. So don't how I found out about it was that somebody actually sent me a link to it, and I was able to actually join the link and find out more about it and what room it was and go. But if I wasn't in the fold, like if I think if it was just your average person, let's say I didn't go that night, I didn't go last night, I decided to just skip it and go eat some burritos or something, right? I believe that the event would have went on. You would have been able to record. You'd been able to do a lot of things, and people from the public, not shareholders, would have been able to win. But since I was there, I have it passed with Adam Marin. We spoke. We had a Q&A. I made videos about him. I have negative sentiment toward him. I should have said I don't like him, and it was better that they changed. They could have been the rules the whole time. I don't know, but they said, okay, well, students only now. You had to show ID, and there's not going to be any video recording, and you can't do anything like that. Totally fine. Whether that was already in place or wasn't, they just did that. To me, it's neither here or there. At least the students got to see Adam Aaron because Gen Z, I believe, is they're the ones that watch the movie the most. And so overall, I think it's a good thing. Now, I was disappointed that I couldn't go in there. I was disappointed that I couldn't hear what he had said. Maybe I could have grabbed a nugget of something where I could be like, oh, like that's a good idea, or maybe that's not a great idea, or maybe um, or the questions that he would ask or would answer that would give me a better perspective of what may be going on with the AMC, as well as a couple other people line that weren't college students. But again, maybe this is best for the community. Where for me, someone like me not to be in there, someone like me not to be a part of this Q&A, someone like me not to be in there being associated with over 500,000 shares of AMC. So that's what happened last night. And again, I was disappointed. I wasn't mad. Everybody over the SC was fantastic. They're very respectful. They didn't bum rush me. They didn't, they just like, hey, can we just speak to you? And again, they knew everything about what was going on. They knew who I was. They knew all about my social media, about YouTube. They know about Twitter or X. They knew about everything. And so I thought that they were gonna think that I was gonna lie to them, so I could just try to get in. But no, it's totally different. There's no reason to lie, none. And so that's what ended up happening. And so I never got in. I don't know what happened. There's a couple of people that I was looking forward to live streaming it. I was looking forward to, um, just again, seeing them answering questions, but it didn't go about that way. So I'm leaving. That was pretty much it. Bummer, right? Any questions here? Damn, it's already been 40 minutes. It goes by so fast when you're live streaming. I know there's like tons of people that they ask me a lot of questions, right? And they'll just fire off like 10, 15 questions. And then I reply to them and then that's it. And they're like, okay, let's see. Dan Lowski, you famous? Nah, far from famous, man. Far from famous. I know a lot of people in the old school that know who I am. I've been around for a while. Got nothing to prove. I'm here just holding some shares of AMC, looking for surprise action to the upside. I'm not looking for MOS. I'm not looking for short squeeze. But hey, if it happens, fantastic. I'm totally good with it, right? If it pushes the upside, fantastic. I'm great with that. But even if it pushed to $25, it's not going to change my life. It's not going to make me filthy rich. And it's not going to, even if it hit $50, it'd be nice. I could do a couple things, right? But it won't change my life. I'll say this right now: if AMC hit $100, hypothetically, if AMC hit $100, it still wouldn't change my life. It'd be great, extra couple of coins in the bankroll, but it wouldn't change my life very much. It'd be a nice added cushion. Could probably buy other stocks long, depending on what's going on in the market, right? But no, I know a lot of people are really wishing MC, does a lot of things. Let's get to $5 first. Let's break $3 to some change first. Let's get to $5 at 566. Speaking of 566, that's what the convertibles, right? The bonds. That's where people say if it hit, I know there's some at $3, but let's talk about the $5 ones, 566. People think that if it hits $5.66, that they're gonna start dumping those and it's gonna actually obliterate the stock and push the price down, right? It doesn't work that way. And these are things where I think people need to understand that they need volume, a volume to have within a tick symbol, which would be AMC, for to get these convertibles out, to get these bonds out, and so they can be sold within the market and they can make their money. Now they're not going to want to sell them at 566 because as soon as they start putting them in the market, it pushes under 566. They're not going to lose money. They don't want to do that. The companies are about making money. So where they're gonna want volume, they're gonna want price to go above 566, maybe $7, $8, $9, $10. This is where I get my $10 mark from because you got that psychological point of $10. If it pushes up to $10, it's great. They want to start dumping convertibles or the bonds, that's fine too, right? But they need volume. And the higher AMC goes, the more volume gets. Um, and because you get people starting to FOMO in, they start to get excited, and this is it. And oh, watch out, and all those things, right? So more volume, you're gonna have more people putting in. How much are AMC? Let's see right now. This is Back to the Future, Mike. How much are AMC at the money right now? I don't even know. What do you think about the warrants that AMC holds on HYMC? I know that he sold. I'm not truly familiar with HYMC for Hycroft. I know that he sold some. He could have made more money on them. I know she holds them. Again, to me, it's not that much money. It can give a little cushion if he actually sells them all. But again, I'm not too invested. I don't really care too much about HYMC. I know that he could have sold for a lot more money, which he didn't, and people were pissed about that. But you can't make everybody happy. But I think that was a mistake. That's not on higher. Okay, let me try to read this again. Mike, how much are AMC at the money right now? I don't understand the question. How much are AMC at the money right now? Oh, at the money calls. Excuse me. So I have so I'll tell you my position, right? So I have calls for 821 at the $2 strike price. They're up over 100%, or depends on what the price action is today, but as of yesterday, they're up over 100%. I have 128 2028, which is 2028 calls for the dollar strike price, and those are up 30 40%, something like that. So overall, that's good. Um, Up over 1,000% at the money calls. Oh, at the money calls. Okay. I don't know. I didn't check what at the money calls are at. I don't. I'm just slightly out the money. I bought these when AMC was under a dollar, so my price that I got into was fantastic. But here's another thing, right? People ask me what made me buy back into AMC, even though it was under a dollar. The amount of fear was in the market. All the chatter when it came to AMC was like, to me it was very suspect. It wasn't even. It's not even warranted, right? It doesn't even make sense to me, right? He had everybody, the mom saying AMC to 50 cents. AMC is going bankrupt. You have AMC going to be delisted. Pumping, 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 pumping. Excuse me. Pump that into your ear. And I start thinking to myself, like, that doesn't even make sense. AMC being delisted because it hits under a buck for stock a ticket to be delisted. Do you know how hard that is? You know how long it takes? Just because AMC dips under a dollar doesn't mean that it's going to be delisted within a week. I think they have like 6 months. There's things they can do. Yes, I know reverse split's one of them, but there's things they can do. They could get extensions. So even if they were under a dollar for the rest of the year, they still won't be delisted. Can they go private? Possibly. I mean, who knows? Will they go bankrupt? The amount of money they have restriction of debt and the money they're getting back and moving debt over to 2030, whatever it is, 2029, 2030. I don't know the actual date, but moving the debt that far out, BK bankruptcy is not even on the table for at least what, 18 months, 2 years possibly. If the movies keep continuing doing good, bankruptcy can be off, for quite some time, maybe 3 years. I have no idea. Again, I'm personally looking to the end of 2026, but they hit this fear mongering and people being upset. So when they came out and say I'm bullish on AMC, like, again, just like I said before, how can you not buy AMC at under a dollar when they're the number one company in the movie industry? What other company that's number one in whatever industry they're in is under a dollar? It's never happened, or it's not. If it is, it's very rare. That just didn't make sense to me. Financially, it didn't make sense to me. When you have the number one business, the number one company in whatever industry that they're in at a buck, that does not make sense. Doesn't even register financially. Doesn't even make sense. Jimmy is holding lots of cash. Why would Jimmy buy at this price? Jimmy's on the other beast, right? Look at GameStop has its own ideas. What Ryan Cohen's doing, nobody knows. That's fine. And truth be told, I think he's doing a great job at keeping it in a secret, because as soon as he gives the game plan out, who's going to be there licking chops and trying to jack it all up? Short sellers, hedge funds, everybody against, you know, GME, everybody, and mother against GME. They're going to try to ruin it. They're going to try to manipulate it and get in. So what Grant Cohen's doing by not saying anything, and people get pissed off, saying, the long game. Yes, they have money. Are they in a good spot? Yeah, I think they're in a great spot. But there's still a lot of things that can happen, right? Um, People say, well, they don't have a business model. That's fine. They're not they're not hemorrhaging money every single quarter. They're not dumping money. They're actually making money. Okay. I know they have their own set of issues that of money that say they owe. That's fine. I'm not going to go into Genie. I don't really have anything to say about Genie like that in a negative light. Everything they do is in the dark. I would, if I was GameStop, I wouldn't buy AMC. I would focus on GameStop. I would focus on GME by itself. That's it. Um, I got nothing more to say about that. Now, going back to when I was talking about AMC, is what company that's number one in their industry is going to be under a dollar? Just that alone doesn't make sense. And the more I thought about it, I was like, man, What's the one thing that Warren Buffett says? When there's fear, there's opportunity, right? When everybody is selling and everybody's running for the hills, that's when it's time to buy. It just made sense to me. Being around long enough, knowing a good value, knowing that hey, I could probably get in here at a good pace, at a good price. I think I bought my first shares were at 90. I think I bought at 98 cents or 97 cents, and then again at 95 or 6 cents. And so, fantastic. Having an average of, excuse me, should have got some water. Having an average of under a buck was fantastic. To me, I think it was just a win-win situation. I didn't see no downside in it. I still don't see any downside. Um, the people that they would ask me, like, should a dollar cost average down? Again, I'm not a financial advisor. That's something you have to decide. But I would just give this back. Even at these prices right now, we're in Discord last night. One of the guys were like, should I buy more shares? I'm like, well, how do you not? You know, again, could there be downside? Can AMC go back under a dollar? Yeah. If AMC goes back under a dollar, I'm definitely buying more. I mean, seriously, it just makes all the sense in the world. Again, this is my personal opinion. My dollar cost average is just over a buck. That's just me. Now, if you've been in play and you've been trying to average down, if you don't have the money to do it, then don't do it. Don't put no more money into the play. Just already count that money as a loss if you're down 90 some percent and just cross your fingers. There's people that sold being down 98 and 99%, they sold. That doesn't even make sense to me either. It's just the opposite of what I did, right? Being down that much money, what you're gonna get, 20, 30, 40, $50, maybe depends how much you have in there, a couple $100. Like I think it said if you had $10,000 in AMC, you're down to like $100 or something like that. Like, what's even the reason for selling? You need milk? You need put gas in your car? I mean, I don't know. Like, why would you even sell? Being down that much, that money's already gone. I'll just kiss that 100 goodbye and keep it in there because you still have those same amount of shares. You cannot sell all your shares and try to buy back in and go up because you're never going to recoup because you don't have the amount of shares that you need. Doing this for AMC's that they got 400 million shares. The price was $20. Isn't that like 16 billion if they sell? Yeah, I don't know the numbers on that, but it sounds somewhere in the ballpark. But let me go back to what I'm saying is that if you can dollar cost averages make a difference, they don't dollar cost average if it's not gonna make a difference. Don't put that money in there. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying if you cannot make a difference in your position, then don't do it. Just stay away from it. Just leave what you have in there. But it does not make sense to sell if you're down 98, 99%. It doesn't make sense to sell at all. At all for a couple of bucks to get rid of all those shares. Let's say I'll give you a hypothetical because what if there's a MOAS? Do I believe there's gonna be one? No, I don't. I do believe there's gonna be price action. I do. I think there's gonna be some good price action. I think the price action is gonna reach over $10 this year in 2026. That is my opinion. Can I be wrong? Yeah, I could possibly be wrong. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. Everything's possible. Is it possible that AMC can reach $100? Yes, it's possible. Is it possible? Can it go to 50 cents? Yes, it's possible. Anything is possible. But I'm more bullish. There you go, 8 billion. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm more bullish than anything. On a scale of 1 to 10 of me being bullish, I'm like an 11. To me, I see no downside whatsoever. None. Adam Aaron can't even messes up himself. And please, Adam Aaron, if you're really watching this, don't do it. Just be quiet and just just keep it going. Just keep it going. Just don't do nothing, right? So selling your position, don't do that. Again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but if you're in a dollar cost average, there's people that said they worked years to dollar cost average all the way down from 30, 40, $50 down to they're at, 7, 8, $6. Fantastic. It takes a lot of work. But now they have a real opportunity, a real shot to get their money back. A real opportunity. Yes, they had to put more money in, but a real opportunity to break even or to even make a little profit. Someone says, I did not hold this long for 5 years, go through this for 5 years to break even. You should be lucky if you breaking even and getting your money back. It's to me, it's winning. That's just great. That's because you had nothing. You were obliterated, right? And not only were you obliterated, a lot of people were hateful. The difference in this community now to what it was back in the day is that there's a lot more hateful people out there that don't want you to be successful. There's a lot more people that are mad that I get in and out. There's people that, because I said I'm a second time AMC shareholder. People are pissed off about that. If you got a problem with that, that's you issue. It's not me issue. I don't really care how you feel about it. It's the truth. I sold and it came back. Just because I'm gonna get decimated in the market like you are, you have no respect for me? That's fine. That's totally okay. You're entitled to think and believe how you want to believe. I'm not sitting here to change your mind. I'm not going to try. I'm not even going to entertain it. I came here because how rich will the apes say be about puts when they in trades to buy puts? I don't know. You know the time frame about this whole AMC for the last few years. It's even it's. I try to go back to it and talk about it, and it's been so long. There's been so many amazing moments like 801. That was crazy, right? I remember at that time I was at 801. I was buying shares on Friday, 10 shares here and 5 shares there, and 15 shares, and thinking I was making a difference, right? It cracked me up how little I knew. Excuse me. Obviously, even podcast averaging down if you're over $20 average, just open up another brokerage account and buy in now. It. That's people gonna do whatever they got to do, right? Now, this is one thing and I never really tell this story. I think it's told it once, and I'm gonna tell it again. And when I want to buy more shares, right? Um, my company now, at the time I didn't have my company, but I'm around college sports and NFL and do things, right? And one of the I'm not gonna say where, but well, most of the stadiums that you go to, there's cans everywhere. So after I would the parking lot would be littered with just cans. And people from all over the place would come and pick up cans. And you talk about bags. You got 50, 60, 70,000 people drinking beer and sodas, and there's literally you can pick up cans for hours and never still pick up all the cans. Like it's really that crazy, right? So I was filling trash bags of cans, crushing them. My leg would get tired from just stepping on cans all night long, and just putting them in my truck and cashing them in. And I was making hundreds of dollars every weekend, like hundreds. I think one weekend I made like $800, $900 on cans. You know how many cans it is? Crazy, right? Leave, come back, crush more cans, and all this stuff, right? But I was buying shares of AMC to my position. People don't like. Why would you do that? Because it's literally free money sitting out there. Like, how do you not, right? I was trying to build a pretty position, and at the time I did. I built a huge position, and it allowed me to be green. It allowed me to do a lot of things and to stand out when it came up. And again, this whole time for all 2021, 2022, I think 2023 is when I sold, I believe, or 24. I don't remember. But I was green the whole time. It allowed me because my dollar cost average was the amount of money I put in, and my dollar cost average was at $6 and some change when I sold. And the combined price ape and AMC was like $9 or something. But it's those little things of going out there and going the extra mile to put into your investment, to try to work your investment, right? I know a lot of people, it's easier just to not do anything, to hang tight and just be like, okay, like I'm gonna wait for myself to get rich, and then get pissed off when it doesn't pan out. You don't educate yourself, you don't learn nothing. Um, the type of trader that I am now to what I was years ago, it's night and day. Setups that I see pretty clearly, it's great. Getting scalps for the Meg 7. You're playing options, short and long. And I tell people, the only shares that I have that are long are AMC shares. I have no shares in the market at all, none, zero. Um, the only options that I have that are long in the market are AMC options. That's for August of 21 and 2028. Everything else is just scalps or day trades. That's it. Robinhood lets you buy a 50% margin, broadcast average in for half, and close your eyes to get above 10. You got to be very careful with margin. A lot of people got hurt with margin. A lot of people lost everything because of margin. And for me, I don't trade on margin. If you have a margin account, I would say, again, this is not financial advice. This is my own personal opinion. This is what I do. I just take it off. I do not do nothing on margin. If you don't have the money to do it, we're not traders, right? We're not in the know. So take off your margin. Don't do that. There was a tweet out there that says that if you have available balance on your credit card, advance your credit card by AMC. Like that's the problem, right? You remember in 2021 after AMC went down from 25, it went to in June it went to $72. There was people that were mortgaging their houses, getting that money and buying AMC. It's crazy. It's a dollar share. We talking 50 cents. Spider Cloud. I do not think AMC would actually. Let's see. Yeah, if you're talking about margin, I say, in my opinion, I think margin's bad for just a retail investor. Unless you know exactly what you're doing. If you know exactly what you're doing, by all means, it's your dilemma, it's your risk. It's no one else's. But if you have no idea, then don't. And I wouldn't even recommend it. Um, Spider Cloud's up a margin. Okay, if you agree with margin, that's by all means, and good luck to you. And you know what you're doing. Great, educating yourself and understanding that. But again, for me personally, margin is off the table. Will I ever do it? Probably not. Have I done it? I have done it. I had made money. There's places I did see of shares I want to buy, and I did buy on margin. And as soon as I made my money where I thought the price was going to go, and I got out. I did it like 2 or 3 times. And then to me, I just didn't like the feeling of being on margin. So I didn't do it again. I just closed margin on all my accounts. That's it. Um, be responsible. And don't get your savings to start buying Hamsey just because it's a buck either, right? If you believe in a play, sure. If you really feel a certain way, sure. But any money that you put in the stock market, that's not money that you need. You don't need it for groceries. You don't need it for your bills. You don't need to support your kids. Don't do anything like that. Let's see, already at an hour. That's crazy. I'm gonna get going here in a few minutes. First time I've been live for a while. Any questions before I get out of here? Then I gotta go have dinner. Guess I what I want to eat tonight. Well, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for checking out the live. I'm not going to keep it too long now. Um, Again, the whole thing with Adam Aaron yesterday, it is what it is. It's fine. Um, I like the momentum in AMC. I like where it's going. And just to, yeah, yeah, it was a dick move. Um, the way I have my own opinions about that, the way all that stuff happened. Uh, AMC over the noise. Hey, what's up, man? I see. You're moderating. Oh yes, AMC over noise. We are definitely gonna make it. And by the way, he's actually I'm in his Discord. He's one of the most genius guys that I know. AMC over noise. If you don't know who he is, you should. If you see him on, go to Twitter, follow him on Twitter. He has tons of information, and I won't reveal who he is, but he's one of the guys that I get a lot from, and I'm a better person for knowing him. So shout out to you, AMC Overnoise, whoever you are. But before I get out here, I just gotta say this: you have the movie theater chain, you have movies coming out which are fantastic. Obviously, you had Project Hail Mary, you have Mario Brothers. The set of movies is something we haven't seen in. I don't know if we've ever seen a movie slate like this. It's insane. Like it's literally fucking insane, right? You have Michael Jackson coming out, Devil Rose Prada. You have Spider Man. You have obviously you have Mario Brothers out. I mean, man, you just have bangers after boom, boom, boom. This movie slate, you have to be thankful for the writer strike, the actor strike, or however that was. You have to be thankful for it because it allowed them to push all the movies to this point now, where there's so many movies pile up that are just bangers, that are just like literally just bangers, that it's just nonstop, which is going to give the price of AMC momentum and allow AMC to push up with volume. And not only do we have the writer's strike, I keep saying writer's strike. I'm so used to saying that. Not only do we have the Writers Guild coming to an agreement, I don't know if it's inked yet. You have the actors coming to an agreement. You have debt going to be restructured. The offering's going to be done in the 8K. The movie slate is a monster. Like there's just so much momentum. There's just so much things going on right for AMC. How does AMC not hit $10 or break the $10 level this year? On another note, is you have number one, the number one um, company in this industry was only $1. What other industry has the number one company in that industry at only a buck? Never, ever. It makes all the sense in the world for me to actually get in at this point. And the Wiz car salesman, as explained it, if you have 100 shares, it's the same as 10. Yes, that is true. Great to see you back, Mike. Appreciate that. It is great. Great opportunity now. I can never have 35,000 shares. Look at, I know people with tons of shares, massive amounts of shares, right? We all believe that what's happening with the AMC, again, things happen for a reason. I came back. You can like it or not. People appreciate it. For the most part, overall, the sentiment of me coming back, people are happy that I'm back. People like the fact that I'm back. I'm thankful that I get that. And if it was negative, it is what it is, right? If you're new, if you don't know who I am, that's fine too. Because I think it was like 85% of all my viewing shit is new subscribers or just new people, which is crazy in itself, right? Ken Gifford into the chat. Yeah, he actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna say something, but I want to get banned. Um, so if you know who I am, that's fine. You can follow me at Only the Float on X or Twitter, right? Obviously, I'm here on YouTube. AMC Overnoise, you definitely got to follow that guy on X. You can go on my timeline, he's there, or just go to MC Overnoise. You'll see him pop right up. Give him a follow. He has tons of information. He's actually, I'm in his Discord. He's not in mine. I'm in his Discord. Um, the amount of knowledge he has, and there's a couple of people that I might even just tag him on my profile. The amount of information and understanding that they have when it comes to this play is next level. Like I, I would I would actually put good money out there to say you find me five other people from my five people, and we could just put them to test. Right? Thank you so much, Mike, for the kind words. We love you. Oh man, God bless you, man. Put your whatever five people you come up with, you put them against my four or five people. When it comes to AMC, you're gonna get demolished. You're gonna get destroyed. These cats know everything. Like I think they live with Adam Aaron. Like truthfully, I think they're in the boardrooms. I think they have the boardrooms tapped. That's how it is. And these are the same cats that actually got me to buy AMC and say, hey, you know what? You need to get off the whole AMC. You need to get back on the wagon. And here's the reasons why. And you know what? I'm sold. I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's go. Let's go. I'm coming back to YouTube. Let's make it happen. And it just became one of those things. But yes, follow AMC Overnoise. That dude is a monster. He's a beast in the game. He's like the Barry Bonds when he was juiced. Yeah, he's that guy. He's that guy, right? He's actually the Jose Canseco. He's the Michael Jordan of the 90s. He's actually the Shaquille O'Neal of the paint. Like, he's the Larry Bird of the Celtics. Who else can he be? He's like the He's like the strawberry shortcake of bee babies. He- All right, everybody. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go have dinner. Go follow AMC Overnoise. God bless you guys. Again, I'm Bush on AMC. I see nothing but upside, bullish, bullish, bullish. We making videos. Again, if you're new to owning the float, you're new to me here. Thanks for joining in. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever. Hit me up on X, on Twitter if you don't know what X is, or just follow me here on YouTube. If you have any questions, just throw them in comments, chats, whatever, and I'll even make a video about questions because I don't know everything, but I know people that know a lot of things. And if I have a platform, I'm willing to help out. Again, I'm not looking for monetization. I'm not looking for any of that stuff. I'm sure at some point it will happen. But I'm here for a push to the upside, and I'm bullish as hell on AMC. Everybody have a blessed night. God bless you, and thanks for joining in. All right, take it easy. Peace.